Hello, everyone. Hello again, I should say. So, just a little quick little side note. Jackie did go live about JotForm. Unfortunately, she thought she was live in our group and she wasn't. So, that will be a redo later. So, just stay tuned for all things JotForm. That's going to happen later. But this session is actually on bag parties. So, hopefully, how many of you guys have maybe already done a bag party? Now, I call them bag parties because I literally like to use bags when I do mine. But a bag party actually can mean a lot of things. I know there are people that like to use baskets. There are people that like to use pouches, tote bags. I mean, really, there's no right or wrong thing to call it. It's just a matter of having an on-the-go party. So that's basically what it is. In my personal opinion, home parties are still the number one go-to way to do this business. I think they are, by all means, the best method of getting the maximum opportunities for your host and for you as far as gaining customers. But the reality is, not everyone wants to have a home party. And so we need to have an option or an alternative that we can offer those individuals that have zero interest or desire for whatever reason to have a bag party or to have a home party. So many, many eons ago, the concept of a bag party was created. So again, there's lots of different things you can call it, but for today's session, we're calling it a bag party. The point is that you want to make sure that your host is going to be representing your testers and your products as if they were the consultant, because you're not going to be there. They're going to take this bag party maybe to their bunco night, to their church group, maybe they're having a birthday party, a family reunion, whatever. Maybe hopefully they take it to the place of employment so that they can share it out and around to people. So you're not going to be there to represent and to share all the things. That's why the most critical part of having a successful bag party is going to be your host coaching. So just like every other type of party, host coaching is critical. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because that's not the training portion of this particular segment. But there are a lot of available content in the training center as well as in this group around host coaching. However, I am going to tell you that when your person agrees to do a bag party, you want to make it a priority to at least spend a good 5 to 7 minutes doing a walkthrough of the catalog. So simply identifying, for example, the fragrance grid, that's a really important piece, the pull-out sheet, and kind of going over some tips and maybe some really quick commercials on some of the newer products. If you know that this host only has warmers and wax, then I absolutely think you need to make sure you do a few commercials on our diffusers, on our wall fan diffusers, mini fans, our clean, our laundry. Again, they can be really, really quick. Utilize that product training guide. We have a new one that comes out every catalog season, and it's going to give you some really quick commercials and ideas and things that you can do for sharing. So how many of you guys have read or referred to the product training guide? If you have, comment below in the comments. If you haven't, it's okay. Good news. If you didn't get one in your kit or yours is outdated, it's available in the workstation under the training section. Simply type in product guide and you can either download it or you can review it. So I'm not seeing comments here. I see that there are some people live, so maybe I'll see the comments when we're done. Not sure. So comment below and let me know if you guys have access to or are familiar with the product training guide, because it really is your best friend. Now, there's many different ways you can do these parties, as I said before. It can be something just as simple as, and Scentsy has offered a variety over the years of different types of bags and totes. This is one that it was offered a while back. You could simply use something similar to this. Have your testers. I want to make sure that you've got, of course, a couple of catalogs. Now, I typically only will send 2 catalogs. I put a sticky on one and say, this is yours. This is yours. You can mark up, make your wish list, do what you want with. And then the other catalog is the one that you're going to be sharing around to your guests, but you're going to get it back. Okay, so the goal is that these are the 2 that you're going to hang on to. When your customers actually place orders, they will get a catalog in with their products. So these are not for you just to pass out freely. These are for you to use to collect your orders. I usually will put a handful of product sheets in there because, again, those just cost pennies and I don't really care if she passes those out. I'm going to put any current promotion flyers. So the warmer of the month, this month I would be including, of course, my Bring Back My Bar flyers, anything that is new or special for the specific month that she's hosting. I like to put a minimum of 10 order forms because my goal is I want to get 10 orders. Because we know, based on the average of the order, I want to try to get my host to 500. A lot of magic happens at 500. Of course, we know that's when they get to max out the host credit amount, of course. And more importantly, once we get to that 500 magical moment, they're going to have that 75 host credit that I can have a conversation about the host kit, which they could utilize that towards the purchase of the host kit if they chose to, or one of their guests could. Okay, so my goal is always 500 or more for my hosts. So I want to do whatever I can to help them. Now, remember how I told you have the conversation with them to see what products maybe they've used or they haven't used? Then I like to include a few items for them to demo. So this is just in case you didn't see it earlier. It's just a clear tote bag. They're actually very inexpensive. They come in a 2-pack on Amazon. I'll share the link later so you guys can check it out. But I like them because they're clear and people can then see them. So if they just set them by their desk or on their desk or whatever, it's very visible and hopefully it creates some curiosity. But one of my new favorite products is our wall fans. So I like to include, usually I will just have just one pod in here. And I like to include this for them to actually demo. Same is true for the mini fan. The mini fans are great as well. But I really love our wall fans because I think they do a phenomenal job at putting out a lot of fragrance. And it's just a newer product that most anybody can benefit from. So there's that. And then I also like to include the hand cream just because I feel like it's something that most people don't know that we have. And so I like to include that in there as well so they can try it. I did just recently, my most recent ones, I threw in the Travel Twist because, again, it's a brand new product and I just wanted people to experience it and kind of see it and get to check it out. And I typically will also include a container of Counter Clean. I don't have one in this one at the moment because I think I used it, but I usually like to have one in there too. And I will tell the host, look, the products that are in here are for you to use. So plug this in to your cubicle at work, put this in the bathroom at work, use the Counter Clean next time you're doing a cleanup so that you can experience it. I want them to experience it. Ideally, you will use current fragrances to sample out, but at the end of the day, if you do not have a current wall fan, the one you have is retired or the only pod you have left is retired, oh well, at least they can still get the experience. And then if they're like, oh my gosh, I love that scent, you can say, well, the good news is we have some that are very similar to that one because that one is retired or whatever you need to say. So just get some different products in their hands so that they can experience it if that's a possibility. If you're a newer consultant and you don't have a lot of products yet, that's okay. Because the reality is all of us had to build and create our bag parties, our kits, like we all had to do that, okay? When I joined, we were just warmers, wax, and room sprays. Therefore, that's all I had. And then over time, I was able, as we got new products, eventually to add more things so that I could share them out. So that's just something that I want to encourage you guys to do as you're utilizing and having your own parties over time. If you're like, I need a wall fan that I can put in my bag party. Well, next time you can get that for free or half price, then I would recommend that you do that. So again, you can use that kind of like your demo. I've also, believe it or not, there are some people who still have not used a Scentsy warmer. Any of you guys ever experienced any of those people? I still run into them. I was so shocked. One of my daughter's nurses, for Christmas, I gave her a plug-in, or a mini warmer, I should say, and some bars. And she was like so excited because she's never used a Scentsy warmer. I was like, oh my goodness. Obviously, she is a fairly newer nurse with our family, but that was the first time that she got to experience that. So I thought that that was pretty awesome that there's still people out there that haven't experienced it. So just keep that in mind. And if they haven't, then offer to loan them one of your warmers. I love it when they let me loan them one of my demo warmers for a place of business, because again, that's a great opportunity for people to experience that fragrance firsthand, and they want to know, where is this coming from and how do I get it? So when we get done here at some point today in the comments of this live, I am going to include some different images, some sample ideas of people's bag parties. If you have a bag party that you've done, I would love it if you would share the bag party pictures that you guys have used, again, in the thread, so that others can see them as well, just to give them some different ideas. Also, we have guides here in this group, and there is one on, believe it or not, bookings. There is one that's on hosting, and there's one on bag parties as well. There's lots of that in albums. So make sure that you check that out too, so that you guys can utilize all of those different resources to make sure that you get off and running. So if you've never done a bag party, highly recommend it. And I will tell you another thing that a lot of people like to do is they call them, of course, their little employees, and they will name them. So you can have some fun naming your bag parties and have some fun on social trying to get them all adopted for a short time. Again, I like to keep mine for a good 5 to 7 days. So it's what I usually like to do my bag parties for. So I hope this was helpful. There's going to be a short break, and then we will be back with our next session.